Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Thomas Lord Cromwell and we get to hear from Friskiball today in Act 2, Scene 4. Now his name is either Friskiball or Frescobald, some variation thereupon, but it's all the same guy that we met way back at the beginning of the play, to whom Bannister owed some money before Bagot went around and bought up all of his debt because he wanted to undo Bannister. And that whole storyline feels like it's been wrapped up, at least for the time being, because the king noticed that he'd been robbed of $7,000 worth of jewels, and that thief was arrested but gave up the name Bagot as the person who he sold the jewels to. So when Bagot was in Antwerp, he was arrested. The governor gave the jewels back to the king, obviously because they were his, and everything that had been confiscated from Bagot was given to a merchant's guild, which felt really bad for Bannister because they knew he was a good guy who had just fallen on hard times. So they gave all of Bagot's stuff to Bannister and everybody's happy, all hunky-dory. Now, Act 2, Scene 4, we're going to catch up with Cromwell and Hodge again. And remember, Cromwell left Antwerp because he got an inkling that the people in Antwerp don't believe that there are kind, good-hearted people out there. And he's like, that's not the kind of place that I want to live. So just as he was leaving to go to Italy, Hodge, the blacksmith, showed up and he said, hey, Hodge, you want to come with me to Italy? And Hodge was like, sure, why not? So Act 2, Scene 4, they are in Florence on a bridge, and they have been robbed. They were robbed by the Bandetto, who took pretty much everything. Took their food, took Hodge's shoes, took their money, took all of it. So they've fallen on fairly hard times, and they're on this bridge, and Hodge is like, oh, if we were back in Putney, and he's like, I'm gonna have to get back into doing horseshoeing, and if only you, Thomas, had ever learned how to shoe a horse, then we could make money twice as fast, but you didn't ever want to learn a trade. And there's all this stuff, and Cromwell's like, just relax for a minute. These two notices that we have, this is what they do in Florence. When people have fallen on bad times, they post notices on this bridge, and then anybody that has the means to help the people who have posted the notices, help them. So he's like, post the notices on the bridge. So Hodge posts them. They each stand on either side of the bridge. And shortly thereafter, Friskibald comes up and he's like, oh, what is it? Oh, this is an Englishman who needs help. So he looks over at Cromwell. He's like, are you this Englishman? He's like, yep. And he looks at Hodge and he's like, who are you? And he's like, well, I used to be a blacksmith, but yeah, that's me. And Friskibald says, I see you have been met by the banditti, and therefore need not ask how you came thus. But Friskiball, why dost thou question them of their estate and not relieve their need? Sir, the coin I have about me is not much. There's 16 ducats for to clothe yourselves. There's 16 more to buy your diet with, and there's 16 to pay for your horse hire. 'Tis all the wealth, you see, my purse possesses. But if you please for to inquire me out, you shall not want for aught that I can do. My name is Friskiball, a Florence merchant, a man that always loved your nation. So the generosity that we saw Friskiball extend to Bannister in the beginning of the play, he's extending to Cromwell here. He's like, oh, I love English people, so let me help. I can see that you've been robbed by the banditti, so let me help. Here's some money for clothes, here's some money for food, here's some money to, buy horses or rent horses so you can get where you need to go. He's like, this is all I have on me right now, but if you need anything else, my name is Friskiball, I can help you, just please let me know. And Cromwell is extremely grateful. He's like, thank you so much, this is so generous, this has dug us out of this hole that we're in. And Friskiball is like, sure, and do you want to just come back and have some dinner with me too, and you can use that money for your next meals? Do you want to come back? And Cromwell's like, no, I have to get to Bologna because the Earl of Bedford is there and has been sentenced to death, and I need to go and help him. And Friskiball is like, well, absolutely, by all means, don't let me stand in the way of that. So Friskiball leaves, and then it's just Hodge and Cromwell being like, okay, let's get to help the Earl of Bedford, who is in Bologna, so that hopefully he is not put to death, and wasn't that kind that man helped us out. And that's the end of Act 2, Scene 4. So this is a play that has all sorts of kind-hearted people in it, and none of them want to be in Antwerp. I don't know what that says. about Antwerp. And if there's anyone from Antwerp watching this, I do hope to get to visit your lovely city someday. But yeah, come on back tomorrow for more, and we will see how all of this works out. I'll see you then. Mwah.